Good morning. It's time for Legal Access. Every week, Thursday at this time, we get together to give you access to different aspects of the law. Today, we're going to be talking about HOA laws, and I will tell you that HOA law, the shows that we do, usually very popular. So if you have any questions about your HOA or HOAs in general, make sure and get them in early because we might not be able to fit you in at the end of the show. The number's on your screen, so call us now, 843-848-8080, HOA law. That's our topic here today. And on our panel to answer those questions for you, first of all, from the Maguire Law Firm is Brittany Jones.
Hey, Dave.
Also want to welcome back to Mark Napier.
Good to see you again.
And at the end of our table, Jamie Moorhead. Hey, Jamie, thanks for coming back in.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, and Mark, now tell us a little bit about your firm and what else you work on besides HOAs.
HOA is a good bit of what we do, but our firm is a general practice firm. We do everything from real estate law to personal injury law to, of course, HOA law, and do some criminal work as well as residential real estate.
Right. And Jamie, same question for you, your firm, and what else do you work on besides HOAs?
Yeah, well, I'm predominantly HOA. Other than that, though, we do a lot of real property litigation, boundary disputes, closing disputes, things like that.
Right. Now, again, get your calls in early because we might not be able to fit you in at the end of the show because this is a very popular topic. Now, guys, you've seen the statistics from the Department of Consumer Affairs that Horry County not only leads the state in the number of complaints about HOAs, but 31% of all complaints from the state of South Carolina come from Horry County. Why is that? We have bad HOAs? Do we have a lot of complainers in the area? Or do we just have more than anyone else?
We have a lot of HOAs in Horry County. I mean, if you think about the up and down the coast with all the different condominium complexes we have. So there you have the horizontal property regimes, and then of course every neighborhood has its community association as well, or at least most of them do. And so there are a lot of them around, and look, they're needed. I know people get upset with their HOAs, but they are a necessary evil.
Yeah, and we just have a lot of people moving here that aren't used to those things, you know?
And he brings up a very good point. A lot of people come from areas where they've never been in an HOA, and they don't understand the responsibilities that come with it.
Now, like I said, we have a lot of complaints. What seems to be like the number one complaint that you guys see, or the most frequent complaint that you see about HOAs?
ARC violations. People that are putting things up and they have the right or the wrong approval to do those things, painting their house, putting a shed in, painting their driveway, things like that. I think that's number one thing that I tend to see, and people getting fined for those things, and whether those fines are right or wrong, and along those lines is probably the majority of what I see has to do with, you know, architectural control and getting approvals for certain things and making sure that you're abiding by those restrictions. Right,
because people don't like the idea of you being told what you can and can't do with your property, and you know that is a lot of times a sticking point. Is that, and then it's, hey, they're picking on me. They're picking on me, and they're not doing the same thing with my neighbor down the street. Did you see his can is over at the curb for too long, or you know, or he's parking on the road, or you know, but they're finding me. And so you'll see that a lot too, and that is, you know, having treatment of individuals disparately is a problem for HOAs. They can't do that, but that is sometimes a complaint.
Well, if you see that disparity, and you know the neighbor's yard is a quarter of an inch too high or something like that, and they give you a notice if yours is, what kind of steps do you take to try to talk to the people in charge to get them to treat everybody fairly?
Well, the first thing you always want to do is talk to your board, go talk to the board or talk to the management company, whichever one is the one that's responsible for those things, and try to get an understanding as to why they're coming to you. And you know, perhaps there's a sound reasoning behind it, and you just don't understand. And if people will stop and communicate first and not right away go to a lawyer or get belligerent, I think they would find they can get things resolved a whole lot easier doing it that way. But sometimes that's not possible.
You mentioned the management company. I know a lot of times the HOA boards work together with the management company. What are the different roles? How do they work together?
Well, each has a little different relationship. It is a contractual relationship, but some boards like to just say, here you go, management company, we're paying you for this, you take care of it, you take care of the enforcement.
Right.
You have somebody drive around the neighborhood and find people, while others, you'll have board members riding around in golf carts and and trying to find people, find violations. So it really does vary.
Yeah.
It varies on each association.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agree?
You were talking about colors of painting your home or painting your shutters or your driveway and stuff like that. Who determines what colors are okay and what aren't? When I was growing up, I had a Crayola box of 132 colors. There's a lot of colors out there. Do they just list them all that are no good, or what?
So how the original people come up with that, I can't tell you. I know a lot of it's going to have to do with uniformity, right? A lot of the neighborhoods have a certain aspect or a certain aesthetic that they're going for. A Spanish-style neighborhood, for example, you may not be able to go away from a tan color, or so on and so forth. So, and really, the interesting thing about the colors is they can change. The original documents, that declaration might have what the colors are. More likely, though, there are rules and regulations that are put out that have those specific colors. So sometimes the color can change depending on the board, for lack of better terms.
Right. That's true. And and it's good to, quite honestly, to have some flexibility, because let's face it, even all of us with our homes, you'll look at stuff paint that you have now and you think, oh, what was I thinking, and you want to change it. And sometimes, they will kind of roll with the times and make changes. It's those that are rigid and don't want to change at all that are a problem.
You've seen some HOAs have even restrictions about like what kind of Christmas decorations you can put up, or what kind of things,
and how
seasonal
long.
thing, how long, yeah, right. I mean, can they extend to things like that, and that's something that they're allowed to control?
They can. It all depends on what their
Yeah.
documents say. Everything goes back to
Everything goes back.
what are the powers that are set forth in the documents. And if it's something that is provided for within the documents, then yes, they can do it. When you buy that property, you take subject to those documents, and you take knowing that they can be amended. So it's not just like Jamie said, it's not just necessarily what's there now. It may be something that gets changed, and as long as they follow the documents, I always tell people, it's a two-way street. Yes, you homeowners are contracted to do what's in there, but so is the association.
Sure.
It goes both ways, and if they want to change it, they got to follow what's in those documents.
Our phone number is on your screen. Give us a call about HOAs here today, 843-848-8080. Let's go to Little River right now. Howard is on the line with us. Hi, Howard. Thanks for calling in. What's your question for the panel today? Howard, you there with us? You're on the air, Howard. Go ahead. We may have lost Howard.
Yes. What's my recourse when you get flooded out by a hot water heater that maybe was not changed in 10 years, according to the HOA, and they won't tell you what the date was on it because they said they didn't want to get in between it? What's my recourse on that?
I did not catch all of that.
So you indicated a hot water heater. Somebody else, I'm assuming this was like an apartment that was above yours. Is that right?
Mine out.
I just run under that assumption. Go ahead.
Well, and in that case, there are a lot of variables. Sometimes associations do have requirements, as he referenced, that you have to change your water heater after so many years. And so then if you don't do that and then it causes damages, then you can be found to be negligent. And if you're found to be negligent, then you can be held responsible for damages that are caused. Most associations with condos and where there's leaks and that kind of thing, it's kind of on you as a homeowner to have an HO6 policy in place to protect the things that are in your unit. The association usually will fix the common property, but if there is insurance, a lot of times there's provisions that, but the owners that are affected have to pay for, split the cost of paying the deductible for the insurance. It really, again, I hate to always have to do this, but you got to look to see what the documents say about it. But when trying to hold somebody responsible for just a freak accident is difficult. But if there's a situation where they knew or should have known of a problem and they didn't do something to prevent it, then they can be held personally accountable.
Howard, hopefully that helps you out. I appreciate you calling in. Tell you what, we got to run to a break here real quick. When we get back, we've got at least a couple of people on hold right now, but we've got plenty of phone lines open. Give us a call. We'll get you on the air as we're talking about HOA law here today on Legal Access, brought to you by the Maguire Law Firm. Welcome back to Legal Access, brought to you by the Maguire Law Firm. We're talking about HOA law here today, and on the panel to answer your questions from the Maguire Law Firm, first of all, is Brittany Jones. Also, welcome back to Mark Napier. Jamie Moorhead is with us as well, so thanks for being there with us, and we've got plenty of time to get your phone calls in, but don't wait till the last minute of the show because we might not be able to fit you in. Had a lot of people who held on through the breaks, and let's go ahead and start off with Pat from North Myrtle Beach. Pat, thanks for hanging on through the break. What's your question today?
Our HOA bylaws state that each unit is entitled to 2 parking spaces, and we have 8 units and we have 16 parking spaces, but one is a handicap space, which challenges the numbers of being able to allocate 2 designated spaces per unit. What is our right as far as this handicap spot is concerned? Can it be used as a legitimate parking place, or does it have to be just like it's designed to be on reserve?
Interesting.
That is interesting.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, I was told there'd be no math.
Yeah. I mean, that does sound difficult. I mean, that almost sounds like something that, goes back to some degree to the developer. I don't know how far along this association is, or whether there's the declarant is still involved in it, but that's something that really should have been determined by the developer. There should have been handicap spaces and then the 2 for each unit. I mean, you would think, but I don't know that there's an easy answer there.
Zoning thing about how many spots are required for that type of handicap spots are required.
Exactly. I mean, there is no easy answer to that question. Pat, if your association may really want to seek legal counsel and bring all your documents and the relevant information regarding how old the association is and who was responsible for the original construction, and see whether or not you guys have relief, or if there's some relief that can be gained through, like you said, through the county or city, whichever is applicable.
Yeah, and I wonder too if any or how many of the unit owners might need a handicap spot. I don't know, maybe one or more of them might actually need to require a handicap spot.
And you can always have a visitor that comes, and so yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're trying to follow ADA rules but didn't follow the math. So a good question there, Pat. Hopefully you can get some help on that. So let's go ahead and stay on the phones here for a second. Again, the phone number is on your screen if you'd like to call us today about HOA law. Peter is in Myrtle Beach. Hi, Peter. Thanks for hanging on. What's your question today? Peter, you still with us? Hello, you're on the air.
Hi, how are you?
Doing good, thanks.
My question is for the good-looking guy in the middle.
Got a fan.
Yeah. We have a renter next to us. We take care of our house meticulously, and they just do not take care of their home whatsoever, and we get fined. It's like it's coming off of them, and they're banging us.
Okay, so you're saying that your homeowners association is fining you for activities that are actually being caused by your neighbor?
That's what it sounded like.
Yes, I recently had a violation for overgrown trees, which we have none of.
Okay. And have you addressed that with the, is it the management company? Is there a management company that is doing the fining?
Yep.
Okay, so you've addressed it with them and they've not been able to give you any relief?
All right, he's gone.
Sounds
Okay,
like a
yeah.
mix-up, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, obviously it sounds like something that you would first, this is what we were talking about earlier.
Right.
I mean, this is something where, you'd want to talk to, and if the first, I guess, if it's the management company that's doing the fining, try to get on the same page and get an understanding as to why you're being fined, and if they're not getting relief from them,
Right.
then they need to talk to their board members and say, hey guys, what's going on? Those are their neighbors, the board members, and hope to do it that way. Last resort, I mean, if you're continuing to be fined wrongfully, then you seek legal
Yeah.
counsel.
So on behalf of the good-looking guy in the middle, Peter, thanks for your call. Hopefully that helps you out. Let's go back to the phone. Mark is in Conway with us. Mark, hi, thanks for calling and thanks for holding. What's your question today?
Hello?
Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. I was just wondering, I'm new to the HOA. I'm from North. And the thing is, why doesn't Horry County take over the properties, the county? I'd rather pay the county than pay an HOA, and would make more sense. I'd rather give my money, to the county,
Well, it's, it is, the property was private property, so it's, and it's then individual owners that own this property, and so it's their responsibility to have to maintain it and to, follow these different, the rules and regulations that are in place. And the county has got enough, I think anybody from the county would tell you, we got enough to do without trying to regulate HOAs. Just we were talking early on about all the HOAs in this area, and if you think about that kind of responsibility being placed on the county, I think it would be just an overwhelming and costly endeavor for that to take place.
Yeah, and to go back to what you said, it all originates with private ownership. None of this stuff was originally owned by the county, and it's a situation where the original developer puts in these restrictions so that they can develop the property. I was always told the government's not in the business of owning
Right.
land, right? So that it's really going to always go back to that original private owner.
Right.
And I know that people don't like to be micromanaged, but if you let the county, the county would be, our Horry County is bigger than Rhode Island. Just try to think that you have county administrators trying to look at every yard and every paint color and everything like that. I don't think they're going to do a great job. People complain that the yards aren't mowed in the middle of the medians. Just imagine what your property is going to be like if you have just, one board with the county trying to oversee everything. And I'm sorry, I'm weighing in here.
No, you're right.
And
you're
worth mentioning too is a lot of times, right, roads within a neighborhood that might have an HOA might still be maintained by the county. Is that right? So they are still involved, I guess, to a certain degree in certain neighborhoods by just having to maintain the roads.
They are when they turn them over. It's usually a goal for most associations just to be able to turn it over to the county, so the county, because that's probably, wouldn't you agree? That's really, other than insurance, that is the biggest cost
Yeah.
that an association has if they own roads, putting away money to maintain those roads.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, Mark, thanks for the call, and I know you're doing your research on that, but that's our 2 cents on it. But tell you what, we do have a couple of calls that are on hold right now, but we do have to run to another break. When we get back, we'll have a little under 10 minutes to go, so if you do want to try to fit a last-minute call in, the number's on your screen. Give us a call, and we'll be back right after this as we talk about HOAs on Legal Access, brought to you by the Maguire Law Firm. It's Legal Access. We're talking about HOA laws here today. We've got a little less than 5 minutes to go in the show, but we would love to fit you in at the very end of the show here. If you have any questions that you really want to know about, let's go back to the phone real quick. Carol has been very patient waiting on the phone from North Myrtle Beach. Hi, Carol. Is Carol gone? I'm sorry, we lost Carol, so she wasn't too patient. But anyway, tell you what, I know that there have been some lawsuits nationally as far as people putting flags up on their homes in HOAs. What are people allowed to do, whether it's on their home or on a flagpole?
Yeah, so there's a federal act that requires that you're able to fly the American flag. And to that extent, that's really the only flag that I'm aware of that you are entitled to fly on your property.
Yeah, and you know, I'm trying to remember if there was something about the South Carolina flag now. And that's gnawing at me, but I don't know if that I don't know if that happened or if there was talk about it. But yes, he's absolutely right. There is a federal statute.
Well, I know in 5 minutes what you're going to be Googling, so yeah. Let's ask about the same thing. I mean, as far as people having stuff on their property, political signs, we're kind of in a political season right now. I know that triggers some people out there. Do they have laws about what you can do and what you can say on signs?
Usually there's a time period within which you can have political signs out on your property, and after that you have to remove them. It's when you know, and sometimes it becomes a question of, is this a political sign? You know,
right.
People will, like, they allow flags, and then you
right.
have for instance, a Trump flag. I mean, or
sure.
something. You know, then it's a question: was that a political sign or not? And there are arguments about that.
Yeah, the most common one I see is 10 days, 15 days before the election, and 10 days after, maybe.
Right.
Things like that.
Right.
But I guess the HOA could limit that with their rules and restrictions about, no signs allowed in this HOA in this neighborhood. Is that allowed, or?
They can. I don't know if they can completely restrict political signs during elections. And again, that's another one. I don't.
Probably doesn't come up a whole
I'm not
lot.
sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure off the top of my head, but that's another one where most associations that I deal with will allow it during that, like he said, a time period.
I'll tell you what, we've got about a minute left in the show, and we have Lisa from North Myrtle Beach. Lisa, can you ask your question in less than a minute for us?
Yes. Can a golf course that's owned an HOA, can they turn their roads over to the county, or if the golf course is privately owned, they can't do it?
It normally would come down to the county. I mean, the roads are all at one time privately owned, and they can approach the county about taking it over, but the county has certain specifications that they require to take it. They won't take it if they're not, a certain width, if they're not, if they don't have of a certain quality, they're not going to accept them. But that's not unusual to have a turnover from a private individual or company to the county if they can get them to take it.
All right, Lisa, hopefully that answers your question. We appreciate everybody watching here today. I want to thank Brittany Jones, also Mark Napier, Jamie Moorhead for being on the panel here today. Next week when we get together, automobile accidents is going to be our topic. We would love to see you, hear from you next week if you have any questions about car wrecks. That's next week right here on Legal Access, brought to you by the Maguire Law Firm.
You may wish to consult a lawyer to obtain case-specific legal advice. Information regarding lawyers can be located online or by contacting the South Carolina Bar Lawyer Referral